And so I'm definitely the best person to pull this off because of the experience that I have, and not only that, I'm my work ethic is there.
Yes.
I will not be outworked by anybody. You know,
I love that.
that is
I love it.
my I
That is
just
exactly why
you
you
know
succeed. Yeah.
and then and not only that, I also want to be able to do something that before I leave this earth, do something that a lot of people will not want to do,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where the rewards are, not for doing what everybody does. When I talk to my artists on this project, they're like, well, let's make a stadium, the regular stadium, and then just get the game out there. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what everybody does.
True.
Let's do something. If we're going to do something, let's make it outstanding.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's not make it half-ass, or just make it do a little bit so
Mm-hmm.
people will bite and everything like that. I'm like, if we're gonna do this, let's go all the way with this,
Mm-hmm.
and make something that I think I'm gonna like, and that everybody else is gonna like.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm the right person to do this because of my determination and the will. That's what's got me this far. I mean, I see these people out here that are supposedly making football games, and they're saying, they're doing all these Kickstarters and stuff like that. And the thing is a Kickstarter to me will not work unless you got something to show. And we
Yes.
are getting something to show. We've got the assets, we've got the AI is the programming, and everything is coming together.
Mm-hmm.
And once we have that build,
Mm-hmm.
if we want to do a Kickstarter, we can do it then. But that's when I would tell people to take things serious, is when you see something, when
Yeah.
you see something tangible, not from people just saying, hey, I want to make a football game, this is our plan, and they have all these ideas. I mean, everybody's got ideas, as you know, in this
because you
business.
know how hard it is to make this, and
Yes.
other developers that you talk to know how hard it is to make this.
Yeah.
So
This isn't easy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not easy at all. I mean,
I think it's literally the hardest thing to make as a video game,
but it's going to be
because
the
there's so many
most.
components to
It's
it.
going to be the most rewarding, though.
Yes, exactly. It will be,
You know.
and where the society's heading towards this more interactive way that we do things. Like, we're not happy anymore just sitting back and watching things as a passive. Like, we like to interact nowadays. And also, this is something that can speak to somebody personally and not just superficially, like a lot of other football games that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Which is like a lot of these football games don't have a lot of passion or heart into it. They're all about the fact that it's football, and that's
Right.
it.
Right.
You know.
And I think a lot of people have settled for that because it's like, they're just so starved right now for
Yes.
something other than Madden.
Mhm.
They just, they just settle for, all right, it's football. But I want to make an experience. I don't want it to be just football. I want it to be an experience. And then all the rest of the games that we do, I want it to be an experience. When you get in there and you play, I like to be able to have, I like what 2K does in their basketball
Mhm.
with the you create your player and you have the story and everything like that. Eventually, we're going to get to that point with this, but I like the people to have an experience. You go out there and you feel like you're on the football field. Some of the sounds that we're going to have, I'm doing them all right here in the studio. A lot of the sounds that we have are going to be authentic. It's going to be a lot different than Madden. We can do a lot of things that they can't do simply because we don't have a board of directors.
Yes.
We don't have these big suits telling us, hey, you guys have to keep making this game the way it is, even if these people don't like it. We got 500 other million people here that do. So
That's a big problem with EA is the management, and
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful that you've had so many different talents and skills from so many different experiences, and how and that's what games is so great, because you can take all your experiences and port it together into one thing.
Mhm.
Like all the music you've done and all the art you've done and your management skills, like it's amazing all those things that you've done to get to this point, because I don't think you could have made this game like coming out of college.
No, you can't. I mean, I put together a business plan, and like you say, all the talents. I had to figure out what I could do versus what I couldn't do.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
put together a SWOT analysis, with the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I put that together
Mhm.
because I wanted to find out what it is I could do that I was good at.
Yes.
But here's what I need help with.
Mhm.
Because when you're taking on something like this, you cannot do it by yourself.
Absolutely.
And there are people that are building these games by themselves and everything, and I'm like, you need a team of people. Now, how you get that team could be several different ways. I mean, we grab students, we grab interns, we grab graduates, and we grab experienced people, and we just bring these guys in as we need them to finish the project, to get to the one common objective. Now, once this is done and it's out there, then obviously I'm going to be hiring people. I'm going to have my own, more, fluid staff with me and everything. And it's going to be a lot more streamlined at that point.
What do you think you've learned the most from doing everything?
I've learned that, if you really want something in life, that you really have to, if you really, really want it, you have to ask yourself, how bad do I really want this? Mm-hmm. And then what am I willing to do to get there?
Yeah.
And I want this really bad. I can almost taste it because I'm almost there.
Yes.
And so now it's like I was watching the Olympics the other day when I seen that biker. Mm-hmm. He was so far ahead of all the rest of them, and these other guys just came up and got him at the end. And I'm like, if I'm that close to victory,
yes,
I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there.
Yes.
And that's what I've learned is this has tested me, my will, as far as how much I'm willing to work to get here. And my wife will tell you there's times where I'm doing work at 1 or 2 in the morning or whatever, or I'm doing this like all the time.
Yes.
And
it's
I think
all consuming.
It is consuming, yes. But I think you have to take a break from it too.
Yes.
And I'm trying to learn how to take breaks from this, because I every time I see an animation or I see some gameplay and everything, I'm like, all right, let's get in there and do this. Let's do more. So I'm driving harder and harder and harder. And, you have to kind of step back and take time for your loved ones and everything like that, too, because that's important as well. But it is consuming. It is consuming. But it makes you, what I've learned is that I can drive. I can push myself farther than I thought that I could.
I mean, you've learned 3D modeling and animation and new music and that, recording. And I do think that it's the human element is the hardest part, because you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
But working with people is also very frustrating, especially since this is your first game and you don't know what you don't know, which is like literally every game you can work in this industry for 20 years and still say that.
Yeah.
Because technology is always changing, systems are always changing,
yep.
The way people think and mechanics always changing. So that's why I love game development, is because it's never boring and there's always a challenge, and there's always something to go towards. While other industries, you just kind of do the same thing every day.
That's why I love IT. I mean, that's why I've been in IT for so many years, because it's different. It's not like accounting. You know, accounting is always, the numbers are always this, and they're always that, and it can get very, very boring. IT is never boring.
Yeah.
It's always challenging.
Yes.
So that's kind of helped me out going through this, because I've been working in a challenging industry for the last 17 years. IT has been very challenging. Then when you're trying to manage IT people, that's really even a bigger challenge, because some of these guys don't have people skills.
Oh yeah.
And that's one thing that you need. So what I've done with this is I've meshed my people skills along with my hard skills and everything to help me out with this. But yeah, it is a challenge. I can tell you that it's a challenge, but it's very rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like my favorite thing is the attention to detail.
Yeah.
That everyone talks about. Like, it's kind of like you talk about, I'm making a Madden game, and people are like, I don't know what that is, and then they see it and they're like. Yeah. They instantly get exact, and that is like what's great about games. It's because it's showing and not telling.
Right.
Like you talked about before.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm saying. I mean, when you have to be able to, and when you start up a Kickstarter or something like that, I can sit here and tell you, a million things about how I want a football game to be.
Yes.
But when you start trying to make that and doing the technology, and that's a whole different ball game, and so. That's why I tell people, let's judge us by what you see, not by what we say.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we're showing tangible results, of what we're doing. And we've been more involved with the community than probably a lot of these other developers and everything. Some people say, well, you guys are sharing too much and everything like that.
Oh, there's no such thing. This is 2016.
I know.
Like, this is how it is nowadays. Everyone helps you. The internet has completely changed the way that we do everything, including share information.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the fact that you do that gives you an advantage and not a disadvantage to share yourself.
And and you're right. And so the thing there is I want to make sure that at the end of the day, these people that we're sharing everything with, they're telling us what they want.
Exactly.
I mean, how cool is that when you're doing the marketing? You're like, what do you guys want? And we have a Trello board that's set up. It's a public Trello board that people can put ideas and everything out there. And you should, go out there. There's tons of ideas out there that they're giving us. They're like, here's what we really want.
Yes.
So I already know what they want. It's just a matter of building it.
And it's funny because a lot of the things that you wanted is probably what they wanted too.
Oh yeah, it is.
So it's just like you're just not like, yep, like. And that's wonderful that you understand from a consumer perspective what you want as a game, and that's what makes like a good game developer.
Yeah, our game we know is only going to appeal to a certain group of people. Mm-hmm. We may not sell, and my wife will probably cringe when she hears this. We may not sell 560 million copies or anything like that. And but I'm not going to shy away from that. But we are appealing to a market of about 200,000 or 300,000 people. Okay, but even at that, that's huge for us.
It's your first game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That right there will get us multiple iterations of this game, which will make it better, which will create a AAA title down the road.
After this, I don't see why you couldn't get a publisher.
Yeah.
To help you along for the next time you do this.
Well, and you're right, and I liken this to music right now.
Yes.
The way music is right now is you don't see a lot of people getting signed by labels. What they look for right now is all these independents that are going out here, making their own music, selling it, and they're like, okay, well, they've already got a fan base. We don't have to build that or anything like that. All we got to do now is, take their music and make it even bigger because we got the bigger, distributors and everything to do that. So that's basically
they
what we're going
want
to do.
self-sufficient people who already know what they're doing
and who's already made a commitment to what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So so speaking on the game developer perspective, there's certain things that people who don't make games don't understand. Like, for example, UI, UX, which is user interface, user experience, is really hard. AI is really hard.
Yeah.
Multiplayer is really hard. You just can't just slap some multiplayer unless you like, and it's because like, do you want a glitchy game, something that's buggy, something that's slow and laggy, or do you want something that's like solid, and that is really playable and like really fun? So like, how do you balance that?
Well, what we're doing is we're building the network. We're building it as a multiplayer experience first, because that's the hardest one. But it's not going to. That's kind of, we have to build that first, because that it's going to be hard to go back and retrofit that. So we're building a lot of that functionality in there first, and then when the game releases, though, it'll have all the functionality in it. It'll have the single player, because I'm a single player person. I really don't like playing with people online sometimes anymore, especially with Madden, because they cheat and they don't play realistic, and stuff like that.
And if it's like the only option you have, it's like,
yeah, your whole experience is just ruined, So we build it from the hardest spot first, and then trickling it down to the easiest. Just like with the rules and everything, we start with the most complex rules first.
Yeah.
And then as you go back in time, the rules get to be a lot easier. So all you're doing is subtracting stuff out of there from there. And the same thing with the graphics. Graphics going to be here, and as far as assets and everything, the graphics going to be good in all eras. But as you go back in time, there's less of this, and there's less complexity to what's going on the sidelines and everything compared to what it is in 2016. So we're starting with the most complex pieces first, and then we're bringing it down.